Thank you for checking out this video. Are you getting enough value from it? You see, this video was created for the purpose of adding value to you. So if this video make any sense to you, let me know in the comment section below. I'm interested in understanding what you take away from this video and if it makes sense to you, so we can provide more. Now let's return to the video.
This game in a way where it starts from education, our indoctrination system, which is huge, even when you're thinking about it for African countries, right? Because you had missionaries, you had colonials, and a lot of times those schools are still set up like that, right? And there's not any, I don't know, any university, any African university here in America or on the continent of Africa that actually centers around African people and Pan-Africanism. Most of these indoctrination systems in schools are emulations of what Westerners have told us what education should be about, and we've lost what our own education system.
I think that the European, they want to call themselves strategists, and they play a lot of dirty game, from blackmail to racket to scandal. That they want to give you the position. Of course, we know that the election that they do in Africa, actually they are not an election. They do it so that people can be happy, because so that we don't say that we are having a dictatorship. But we see that it's not an election. But we see the recent one that happened in Nigeria, for example, where somebody will say, even though I lose, I will still be the president. Even though the people say they don't want me, I will still be there. But how do you do that? Now, what many Africans are also saying is that when we are having these people coming into power, we see them running around in the world, going to US, going to France, going to Germany, as if they are going to sign some document that we are not aware of. Now, after they sign this document, suddenly they become the president or the head of state. Then they start signing B in our names.
They're racialized, codified laws, and they don't apply to African people a lot of times, because technically if you want to say that we're considered citizens, which a lot of times we're not, we're considered second-class citizens. And what that does is not include us in a lot of laws that discuss like liberty and freedoms and different things like that, which is why it's important that we design and develop our own systems, our own organizations that are governed by our own laws. I don't mean adopting someone else's laws and then saying, oh, this is our laws now. It's like, no, we have to develop our own systems, our own organizations, and our own laws. And these are all things that we've done before, but we've gotten into a stage where we've just emulated other people and what they've done in their laws and their constitutions, but we have to develop our own. My name is Nkozia, and I'm the author of Play the Game, Hierarchical Assimilation. I have also written 2 children's books as well, called Ketia Noon Teleba, Morning Noon Light, and I Wish, which is a wishing tale for kids, encouraging them to make their wishes and telling them that they'll come true. I'm also an entrepreneur. I have a business called the United Association of Moors. We do social entrepreneurship, technological innovations. We're also in Ghana, so we're working really hard to create a research center out there. And yeah, that's a little bit about me. I love learning. I love education. I work with kids as well. So thanks for listening.
All right, that's interesting. That's lovely. There is a lot that need to be unpacked there. So we'll take it one after the other. Okay, so tell me a little bit about you. So why did you decide to write? Just generally, what do you love about writing? Since when have you been writing?
It's a good question. I have always loved writing. Like when I was in school, I always enjoyed reading and writing and like those reflective things that we always had to do. I remember one time in school, we had to read these letters from Frederick Douglass to the president, and we had to write a letter back to Frederick Douglass on like how we felt about his letters. And I remember being so upset at his letters because he was kind of conforming and assimilating in a way, arguing against slavery. And I just loved the power that had given me, even though Frederick Douglass is gone. It was just the idea of me writing that letter and in the same tone of that space. And I just really remember that. But I've always been told I was a good writer, so it's always been a passion of mine to like voice what I believe as well. So I think writing is a powerful tool. They say the pen is the sword. So a lot of times when we think about what's going on in today, we can think of paper terrorism as a form of the biggest way to do and commit cultural genocide is through writing.
All right, that's interesting. That's interesting. Which part of writing do you love really? Before we move into your book, because we're going to be talking about your book today. Tell me, which part of the writing do you really enjoy the more as a writer?
I really love creative writing. So I actually have a blog that I started before I even finished my book. That I started maybe in like 2019 or 2020. And it's just a lot of different topics on things that I care about. So there's one topic I have on like the technological revolution that's happening in the continent of Africa and how there's a lot of big technocrats that's coming in to absorb the data, like things that people aren't really talking about or thinking about. I love to write about. But my book is more academic, which isn't so fun, but it does have a purpose, right? And I'm using a creative way to get my message across with the academic writing style. But I really do love creative writing because there's more you can say, there's more you can push, there's more ideas you can influence people to think about.
Absolutely, absolutely. I love that. I love that. All right, now let's pick up the book. Play the game. Let's start with the title. Tell me about the title. Where did it come from?
So this is it. Play the game, hierarchical assimilation. So it's really interesting because I thought of the title because in the first few chapters, I'm actually talking about having to be an African woman and wanting to move up this social hierarchy in the Western world, right? I always had this idea since I was a kid that I would go to the best schools, the best high schools, and then I would go into the best colleges, and then I would go into the best law firms, and then that could create a space for me to like have my own law firm. That's always been this idea that I had. So when I created the book, I'm discussing having to gone to the best high school in DC and then having gone to one of the best universities in the country, United Air Force Academy, and how I had to assimilate within those hierarchies. But the more that I assimilated, there was a cultural stripping of my own identity that I realized that I'm talking about. But I'm talking about it from a personal perspective, but I also get into how it's more of a global phenomena that happens to African people the more they try to assimilate within Western culture. And so hierarchical assimilation is kind of the elongated, sophisticated description of that, but a better, easy way that we often hear it is we just say, play the game. You just got to play the game. You just got to get along to get what you're trying to get at. So I put those two together so people could understand a bit more context, like what that is to play that game.
All right. Now, let's look at people who have not yet have a copy of the book. Okay, I just want to remind our audience that the book is actually available on Amazon. So you better get a copy for yourself. Wait a minute, let me see. So the book is available on Amazon, so you can get a copy for yourself and read, so you can follow along what we are discussing today, because I found that to be very important. All right, so what I wanted to ask you just now is, are you like looking at the argument from the maybe having some element of immigration into it, looking at maybe Africa that are in the European country, Western country, or you're looking at it from the point of view of Africa who go to Europe through slavery, and therefore they are in the European society and they try to fit into the system? So I want you to help me clarify that part, because that can really be very interesting.
Yeah, so it's more. And I'll also say you can also find the book on my personal website, nkozi-a.com. It is a preference to use that instead of Amazon. But so it is about the global diaspora of Africans, because my theory is that no matter what happens if you're a part of the African diaspora and you go into the Western world. You're still going to have some form of stripping of your culture and identity. So I do get into it, like, no matter what. I kind of merge those concepts because I see it more as from like a Pan-Africanist perspective. And also I have witnessed a lot of Africans in different contexts. So Africans that have already been in the Americas, Africans that have traveled to Europe, Africans that just coming from an African country coming into, and it's always been like similar stories. So I kind of merge those stories into one in what I'm writing about.
Hi, and thank you for checking out this short clip from Obehi Podcast. I'm Obehi Ewanfo, the host of the Obehi Podcast. This short clip was created from a full episode where we dive deep into this conversation. To see the entire video, all you need to do is to click on the link in the description of this video. Now, while you are there, I want to share something with you quickly. Are you a purpose-driven entrepreneur? Do you want to cut across the noise and attract the right audience, leveraging the power of storytelling? Now pay attention. I'm currently working on a signature program to help you own your story and stand out for the competition. It's a 5-step journey to help reshape your professional and business narrative so you can drive success and stand out in the competition. And in less than 90 days. The link is what you see on your screen, academy.aclasses.org/story. Now, this is what we have understood. Storytelling is the most powerful instrument that is known to man. And this is what this could mean to you. You could either choose to own your story and leverage it to amplify your message and whatever you represent in this world, or some other person could own that story. The choice is yours. So why don't take advantage of your story and use it wherever you are, whether you are in business environment or you are a professional individual who want to be able to build your influence and leave a legacy behind because you represent something. You are owning your story. You are somebody whose story is important. So the choice again is yours. Now let's get started with this short clip.